We're doing well, Coach.
Turn it over.
We're going to turn it over to you, so that way
Questions.
for questions, okay?
Sounds good.
Coach Harrell, with this offense, I guess it's a totally different challenge, and maybe the unknown is the biggest challenge at quarterback. I mean, how do you kind of prepare? Have you prepared for that this week of maybe facing 2, 3, potentially 4 guys, maybe?
Yeah, they've rolled a lot of guys in there at quarterback, all very talented, all very good players, which certainly is what it is. You got to kind of – each one has something he does really well, and you got to kind of alert your kids to that and maybe you make a different call for one as you opposed to the other. And they got a lot of skilled kids that can really run and they're really good up front. So they like you said, propose some challenges, and we got to be ready to meet those and step up to the plate and see what we can get done.
Do you have, as a follow-up, do you have a guess as one guy, or at least you willing to publicly put out a guess, or no?
I have you rolling the dice, to be honest. I mean, we think, if you watch throughout the games, I think number 3 is a really good quarterback. Played against us last year. 6 got his first ball game last year. Last week, sorry. Did a really good job. Did some good things. Transferred from North Carolina. The young kid, freshman, 12, really good player. He's certainly very talented. And then 0, who was the Alcorn State Player of the Year in that conference, does some really good things. And he's kind of a wildcat kid back there that can throw the ball and a good player as well. So, we may see them all. Who knows? And we'll prepare for all of them and be ready to go.
Coach, you guys have played well in stretches the first couple games. What do you think it'll take to, I guess, put a full game together? What do you think is leading to maybe those 2 or 3 series that are holding you guys back?
I think we talked about it a little bit last week. We have played well at times, and at times it's like we can't get over the last play and we can't handle adversity. And that's something we continue to talk about and keep working on. And, hey, don't worry about what happened the last play. Move on to the next play. Don't point fingers about the last play. Pull the thumb and let's get on to the next play and keep moving. And you just got to take it one play at a time. It's like eating an elephant. You eat an elephant one bite at a time. You win a ball game one play at a time. Don't worry about, the third quarter, fourth quarter, last play, whatever it may be. Take care of that play. Take care of what's important now. And we're talking about right now just at practice, hey, win this rep. And then after you win that rep, win the next rep. And stack rep after rep after rep. And next thing you know, you've won the day of practice. And that's how we kind of faced it.
Blake, where do you feel like you've learned the most about your defense so far? What have they gotten better at best? And besides what you just talked about, where they got to get better at?
I think at times, and kind of what Stephen hit on there, we showed some, we can run the ball, we can play fast, we do a great job tackling, and other times you see it just kind of up and down. So we got to be more consistent on that. And our kids are doing a great job. They're working their butts off. And we created some turnovers last week. We've pressured a lot the first couple of weeks. And sometimes we've done a really good job with that. Sometimes, we obviously got to improve on it. And I think our base defense is starting to improve, and we're starting to get our run fits down with that. So feeling good about where that direction is going. We can do some different things. Pressure and play some base. So feeling good about some package things we got going on as well.
Coach, I was going to ask you as far as speaking of pressure on the quarterback, whoever that should be, do you plan on more pressure this week?
Well, I think you just kind of get in the game and see how it goes. It's just like any other time. Can you get there with 3 guys? Can you get there with 4 guys? Can you get there with 5? Do you need 6? Do you need 7? Whatever it may be. And you got different plans throughout the game to how you're going to get that done. And which exactly guys it'll be. Is it going to be your D-line? Is it going to be your linebackers? Is it going to be your inverts, your overhangs? But you just got to come up with creative ways and find guys that's what they do best and get to the best of the best and find guys that cover the best and put those guys in coverage.
When you look at the Warren Saba pick 6 last week and building on that, is there anything, I don't know, that mentally or strategy or on the sideline of being able to turn that into a good quarter, like build on that instead of just it kind of went away pretty quickly? Right.
It's when you start off really fast, sometimes you're like, oh man, this could be a great day. And then sometimes over the years, it's been all our experiences. Like you kind of want to, hey, get a three and out stop right away. Maybe that turnover, pick six coming on the second series, just to get your kids, hey, consistency, playing the next play, and things like that. But it's still the same thing I mentioned earlier. Next play, something good happens. Next play, something bad happens. Next play, and move on and keep playing. And like we've all kind of mentioned and talked about, consistency throughout the ball game.
Coach, you guys have rotated a lot through the first two games. Obviously, your first year as coordinator. Do you feel like you're starting to get a better feel for the personnel? You know, what guys do certain stuff well, that sort of stuff?
There's no question. It's probably about being married your first year, I guess. You know, you find out exactly what your wife likes. You find out what exactly she don't like, and yada yada. It's kind of like that with your football team. Every game you play, you find out what you're more comfortable with and putting those guys in certain situations, or what guys can do what guys, really rush the passer well, or what guys can drop into coverage, and you put them in better situations each and every ball game and each and every practice. And, you try to get them there for Saturday for South Florida.
Coach, what do you feel like the biggest challenges that are facing this team as you play USF this weekend? What do they do well?
If you look at the stat page, I think they're about 165, 170 yards rushing a game. And they obviously have ran the football pretty well. They got, like I said earlier, they got some speed. They're going to take their shots. They still showed that in the Cincinnati game where they're going to try to stretch the field on you. They got some receivers that can really run. They got two backs that number 1, number 10 that can then stretch the field vertical and lateral and horizontal. But that's the biggest challenge for us is just matching their speed.
Coach, you were able to get Aaron Ramseur kind of some more reps this past week. How has he come along in his rehab, obviously?
He's getting there. I think, he had a tough camp as far as, his rehab with his knee was kind of slowed down through the off months there, not being here to rehab as much and as much attention as he would need. And then he had some different other injuries, we'll say. One night was a stomach issue. Another thing, he has a cast on his hand. So those have held him out at different times. But he is catching up and coming along and looking good.
Coach, what about some fans in Pirate Nation have asked about Travion Freshwater? How is he progressing?
Freshwater's doing a good job. He's, still battling it out, still in that rotation, still on the travel team. Very talented young man, and really good at rushing the passer. And we just got to get him, where he's 100% accuracy on his assignments all the time. And he's getting there, and he's improving every day. And still a young kid. He's a redshirt freshman playing his first college snaps. But, and I think I said this last week, you can see those guys, and Freshwater's one of those guys that every week they get better and better and better. And it's some of it's a confidence thing. Some of it's just more reps. Some of it's growing up, In Aaron Ramseur's case, it's, hey, he needs those reps where he missed that time, where he's now catching up and he's getting to a starter level. And Freshwater, he's getting better and better every day.
Okay, one more question for Coach Harrell. Okay, Coach Harrell, thanks for your time.
All right, appreciate you guys.
Okay, everybody, we'll wait till Coach with DK gets here, and then we'll get right into questions once he sits down.
All right, guys.
Coach, how are you, sir?
I've been better, but I've been worse.
All right, we're just going to go ahead and turn it. We're going to go ahead and turn it over to questions now.
Donnie, when you guys have a game like you did this past Saturday, when you talk about it as coaches, do you look at it more as, we just need to get these guys more experience before they start executing this better, or do you look at tweaking some things? I guess what's maybe the balance there?
I think you go back and you say we got to go back to fundamentals, and you got to go back to being more simple, because Saturday was a disappointment in a lot of ways, I guess, but just in what I'm involved with, it was a disappointment because we had a lot of MAs, mental assignments, mistakes. And we do have a young group. There's a ton of excuses, but nobody cares about that. You know what I'm saying? Who cares? You know what I'm saying? That bothered us a little bit right there. And then I don't know. We looked a little slow. I just thought we didn't have the energy that we had in the first game, and that was a little disappointing too. So there was a lot of things like that. But you go back to fundamentals. There were some routes, for example, that guys that run good routes normally had gotten sloppy, and the depth of the route wasn't good. The number of steps wasn't good. That throws the timing off. We had some issues with some protections, but it wasn't like the guy stepped the wrong way. If you're supposed to step right, they stepped left. It was really just stuff like that was disappointing. Now, good defense. They do a heck of a job. They know that defense well. They brought a lot of good stuff, a lot of good stunts, a lot of good twists. So they challenge you, but we should have been better than that.
When you look at this matchup, maybe both offenses are looking for a spark, or can hit big plays would really help it. And does that go to the energy thing you're talking about? If either team, whether it's run, pass, or whatever, hits a 50, 60-yard play, how much could that impact this particular game, you think?
A lot, especially with a team like us, because we are so young, I guess. We'd have probably been somewhat young. You take, Dante out of there, all of a sudden, our best offensive lineman, our most experienced offensive lineman, and he is our most energized guy, too. He brings a lot of energy to it. And like today at practice, he was out there giving some energy and doing some things, even not playing, but he wasn't there at the game. So you don't get any of that. Noah Henderson's been out for a while too. I think Noah can be that guy. So we're fragile. We're very fragile. The game, got off to a crazy start. You gained 7 yards on the first play. Okay, that's pretty good. That's kind of what we wanted to do. The game plan was Snead was going to get the ball. We were going to get Snead going, and we were going to establish that. I was going to get him out of his little funk right there because he was really stressing, after the first week and feeling like he let everybody down, which he did not. He didn't do that, but he was feeling that. He's a competitor. You gain 7 yards, then we can't gain 3 yards in the next two plays. That was disappointing. You look up, you're behind. You keep getting more behind. You're not a team that's had a lot of success, so they don't have that confidence. And, we had a couple of shots to make big plays. We had 2 touchdown passes that one he got hit a little bit. He should have still made the throw. After we got a turnover, it was the perfect time to take a shot, and it could have been a 70-yard touchdown pass that could have totally changed the game right there. And then series or two later, we had a double post. It was basically uncovered, and we did blow a protection there, and he had to scramble, and he missed the throw there too. And you look back up because of Snead on the fake field goal with all the good blocking too. The O-line obviously did a great job of that too on the line, blocking that. And then Blake Pro comes to there and blocks a punt, and you look, boy, you're back in the game. And there were so many ways we could have really been down to at least the last possession, who's going to win this game. If we could have had those 2 big plays back, we really had a touchdown right before the half. He's an inch or 2 out. You could have had a play there. CJ catches one in the back of the end zone. He's about a foot out, there too. 3 opportunities in the red zone that we settled for field goals. One of them, we had a first down and 10, and we made it a 1st and 20 with a hold. I never seen it held after the play was all over, but they still called it. So, it was holding, I guess, is a call.
Coach, I had a question about CJ Johnson. It seems like on every play watching the game last week, there's always pushing, pulling. There seems like there's a lot of, you get about call if you're a referee, pass interference on the defense. Knowing that, how do you get CJ more involved and not get his head out of the game? It seems like I would be frustrated too if you're a talented receiver and everybody's pushing, pulling you, grabbing your jersey.
Yeah, there's no doubt that's their strategy. We know a lot of guys on their staff, very well. A lot of us have coached at the same place. And basically they told us that was their strategy, hold him. And they'll only call so many interferences in a game probably. And, if it does turn out to be a problem, then maybe they'll adjust and quit holding. And he had 3 pass interferences. A lot of people are like, boy, CJ didn't do anything. I was like, well, he didn't have a lot of catches, but he did have 45 yards. Now, that don't go in your stats, so it doesn't make it look like that, and you don't get that momentum from that sometimes as a player. But he did draw 3 pass interference. 2 others should have been called that they didn't call. So what we're going to have to do without giving it away, because I'm sure they listen to, the level of this media here, I'm sure is national, so that I'm sure they're all looking at this tonight too. We're going to have to move him around a little bit. We're going to have to be creative. And like I said, I kind of had a game plan to get Snead going last week, and for the most part that worked. Snead got a lot of touches, and he was productive with 100-some yards. We got to make sure we've got some things like that in there that specifically go to CJ that they can't hold him. So, there's motions, moving him around. There's some picks, there's some rubs, there's some different things that we've worked on this week. He's had a good week of practice, and hopefully we'll get him started, because that's a big part of what we got to get going.
Donnie, a lot of people are asking and wondering if you guys are going to really begin to open it up a little bit. You've had difficulty running the football a little bit with the offensive line guys out, some of those guys out, and trying to piece together a group that kind of has some cohesion up front.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, throw it more than 50 times in a game. I don't know. Can we throw it more than 50? I guess we can. I think I've thrown it 60 something before, but we wouldn't like to throw it more than 50. We had 29 completions. That's a lot of completions. So the first game, we ran the ball well. You know what I'm saying? We ran, the ball really well. We don't fumble it. It would have been a tremendous day. And then if we don't have two penalties downfield, and one of them a late hit, which was crazy, and then another one, was a holding call, which maybe he held the guy. That's one of those things. We ran the ball well. So what we got to do this week is we can't let that game beat us twice. Sunday, I was pretty down. I'm saying? Monday, I still, kind of had my jaw out of place a little bit. Even Tuesday, I was still pretty down about it. Today kind of got us going again. We can't let that. We can't say, well, we can't run the ball. We can't do this just because we didn't do it for one game. We can run the ball. We will run the ball. We'll take our shots. We'll be open. We don't care if we throw it or run it. We just want to do it well. It kind of depends on what the defense is giving you a little bit. And the first game, Central Florida was a lot more concerned about the passing game than they were the run game. So the run was more there than the passing. Somebody, I think, had asked me, Clip had asked me about, late in the game, you were running it in the fourth quarter. Well, the fourth quarter, I don't know that we had much of a chance to win the game. They were playing the pass. They were two safeties deep. So why not run it? You're going to make more yards running it than you were throwing it at that point. Saturday, I think going in, they said, okay, they're a pretty good running team. We got to stop the run. They had the box loaded. And, we did try to establish the run early because the defense at that point wasn't playing very well. They played really well in the second half, but they weren't stopping them. So you've got to give them a break. You can't go out there and keep going 3 and out and was wearing them down till they can make their adjustments, which Coach Harrell and those guys did an unbelievable job then of getting that. But you got to find a way to give them a chance to do that. So, you don't want to just totally get away from your game plan. You still got enough time when you're down that early. But, there was a point in the second half where we probably didn't run it very much. We were throwing it almost every snap there. If we could have hit the big throws, a couple of big throws there, we would really had a shootout there with them, even though we were way behind early, I think.
Donnie, going back to CJ just a little bit, how is he kind of holding up mentally, at this point, and the pressure of kind of being that number one receiver? Is he one of those guys that when he gets in the game, it makes some big plays, he kind of builds on that? Is he, kind of emotionally driven during games?
I think so. He's really emotional. And in the first game, he got too emotional because the guys went after him a little bit and they turned into a one-on-one. And so we had to settle him down a little bit from that. And this week, he really controlled his emotions. He just couldn't get involved in the game. He really had a couple of fundamental things that we've really tried to work on. And when you just try to go back and just tell everybody, really how well you play is not determined by necessarily how many catches you make. That's just part of it. When you're not thinking about it, it'll come his way. He'll get the ball. He'll start making those plays. It's early in the year. Nobody wanted to have played poorly. Nobody wanted to have lost already. But I think he's in a pretty good place this week. He acts like he's ready to go, and he's okay.
Coach, kind of going off that.
Question.
Holton, he was as down as we've seen him after the game. How has he bounced back, especially as a leader for you guys offensively?
I agree with you. That's the most I've seen after the game affect him. He really, I thought, was low. He was really crushed, and he had he had his deal. He played 80 plays in a game, and he had 75 really good plays, and he had 5 really bad plays. And the 3 interceptions, the one really was not his fault. The 2 were. They were really just bad decisions. And he's pressing because when we get behind or we're struggling, he just feels like, I need to do something. I need to put the team on my back. Well, you want guys like that, but you got to do it in the right way. You can't then go just make up something. And he just made 2 really bad decisions where they were both on first down. That's what kills you. It's 1st and 10. You don't have to force it on 1st and 10. You got 2 more downs to make 10 yards. And you know what? We've been in a lot more 4-down mode too. The game has changed. I mean, it's becoming a 4-down game. And so we've really been talking about that. So he's got to quit doing that. Sometimes you got to throw one away on 1st down if it's not there. Every play's not going to work every time. And the one was an RPO. He should have handed it off. The other one was just routes were covered. He tried to make something up. He was really down, I thought, on Sunday as well. I saw him on Monday. He was kind of coming back. I think Coach Houston's done a good job with him of, covering for him. I'll be honest with you, I do live in a cave. I don't know what's going on for the most part out there. They built a store between my house and here, and I didn't even know it. You know what I'm saying? It's because it's dark when I come. It's dark when I go home. But obviously he's been getting beat up, I guess. That's to be expected. He knows that. We all know that. All of us in this business understand that. As we tell them all the time, they don't love you. They just love what you do anyhow. Trust me, they don't hate you. They don't even know you. They just hate what you did there on a couple of plays because we didn't win. And I think he's bounced back just from some support. The teammates, he's had a lot of teammates, I think, have rallied behind him, and kind of given him, that support too. So he'll be determined. He had an unbelievable practice today. Normally, if you practice well, you play well. Let's hope that'll be the case this weekend.
Okay. Thanks, Donnie, for your time.
Thank you as always, guys.
All right, guys. See you all tomorrow.